Nation of Fit in 10. Welcome to day 46, and that means we are officially 2/3 through the challenge. 2/3, hard to believe, right? We've already made it through 2 of the 3/3 of this challenge, and a lot can still happen in the remaining 24 days or so that are left. So we just got to keep moving. We got to keep trying. We got to keep doing. And certainly not letting any injuries or any of our past mistakes hold us back, okay? Injuries are a huge one. I know there's a few people in this challenge that have had some issues. The key is to always look for things you can do. And while you may not know what those things are, of course, you can always ask us and we can tell you. But there are always things you can do. Okay, you're talking to somebody who is, I push the limits. I guess I still feel like I'm still super young, even though I'm not. I still push the limits. I always have something that is nagging me. There's always something usually I have to work around. Almost always. There is something I have to work around. There's some sort of injuries. I think you heard me talk about how I blew out my back, and literally I blew it out. I had to literally drop the weight and fall on my back. And that was about 2 weeks ago, but I still managed to finish my workout. I couldn't do all of it. There were certain things I had programmed in I couldn't do, but there were certain things I could do. So I still did those things. I took the next day off. I did cardio, but I didn't do anything else other than cardio. I wasn't supposed to. The following Monday, I went in, I trained upper body, so that was okay, but my back was super tight when I was lying on the bench with my feet on the floor. Almost unbearably tight. I was still protecting it. Subconsciously, I was protecting it. And so my point here is I just really had to work around things. I had to elevate my feet for that. And when it came to bent over rows that I was supposed to do, well, my back just couldn't do bent over rows, so I did a self-supported row. And so where there is a will, there is a way. You will find a way. And this is what you need to do, especially if you're injured. I don't mean to harp on this, but I think it's important to hear. Especially if you are injured, you need to keep moving. You need to keep moving. You need to keep going, all right? All right, if you are, I think I've talked about this before, but I'll just reiterate it again. Maybe I haven't, but if you, for example, overindulge in carbohydrates, you have more carbohydrates than I have allotted to you. Yes, you can do less fat, or vice versa. You can do more fat, less carbs. Ultimately, at the very, very top of all of this is calorie consumption. We want to be very, very careful with our calorie consumption. And so if you replace some carbs for fat or fat for carbs, not such a big issue. I do really want you to try to get that protein in, okay? That protein is a game changer. And ultimately, when it comes to fat and carbs, well, they both have roles in our diet. And so we do want to get both of those. If there is a day where you have, more carbohydrates than you should, you can cut back on your fat or vice versa, okay? All right, questions here. Let's get into it. I'm going to get right to this person's question here. The importance of yoga stretching. So, interestingly enough, okay, stretching is going to give you... So I would say I don't want to say stretching is a waste of time, but it really just gives you temporary relief. Yoga, on the other hand, I think will have much more carry through, because yoga is, you're holding certain stretches, but you're also going through movement as well. So really what you're looking for here, if you want to do something that's going to improve your flexibility, I think yoga would be something very useful. Static stretching, well, I do it sometimes, to be honest with you, just for some temporary relief. It's really something that's all you're going to get from it. But when it comes to yoga, just specifically because this person's asking about it, that can be very, very useful. Basically, when you think about trying to improve movement in a certain body part or throughout your body, you want to do movement that stresses your range of motion, okay? and usually weighted movement. So yoga is really good for this because we use body weight for this. So, rather than just simply holding a static stretch. So this is highly useful. The other aspect of this you could think about, which has become somewhat popular, is rolling. Again, rolling, especially if you look into the data about it, it doesn't really seem to show a lot of benefit, although it's been a while since I looked into it, so maybe things have changed. I've personally never been a fan of it. I find it extremely painful. Maybe that's an argument that I should be doing it more. But really, if you look at the data, well, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at the data in probably 10 years. So I guess that's not really, I don't really have a good leg to stand on when it comes to that. But from what I know, the data does not seem to support it. Yoga, I'm a huge fan of, not just from that flexibility standpoint, but also it just has a lot of therapeutic benefit, I think. So not something that I do, but something that I think I should do. And I keep saying I will do, but I have yet to do. So maybe we'll make that happen. I should make it happen, especially as I move up in age. It is definitely a very good, I think it is a very good complement to weight training. Okay, especially if you're heavyweight training, I think it's a very good complement. By the way, if you are heavyweight training and you're going through full range of motion, you are going to improve your flexibility. So there's a myth that you may have heard. People say, oh, when you train with weights, you get tight. Not if you train through full range of motion, you will not get tight. You will not get tight. If you train with heavy weights through a limited range of motion, yeah, you're going to get tight. But you're going to get tight regardless if you don't take the muscle through full range of motion against resistance. Okay, so, something to consider. Another argument for full range of motion. Okay, all right, let's get to the message of the day. We'll keep this video short for today. You can still make mega massive change. You can still make mega massive change. This is one of my old sayings, mega massive change. Will you make mega massive change? In the challenge, you can make mega massive change. You can still make a lot of change in this challenge, given that there is 1/3 through. And, I don't think there's really anybody in the challenge who hasn't made some level of progress. And, that being said too, progress is not just measured on, exclusively how much fat did you lose, right? So, it's based on a whole host of things, including even just setting up habits or getting yourself into more of a routine. There are so many aspects, there's so many ways you can look at this in terms of improvement. And as I've always said, you need to look at this as a journey, right? And your journey doesn't mean being perfect starting at day 0, right? That's not really a journey. That's maybe kind of like something that we shoot for, but maybe we never quite attain. But in terms of, for those of you who are still, wanting to push that fat mass, just be patient. Remember, our check-ins are every 2 weeks, so it's only 14 days. So if your goal is to lose 2 pounds in 2 weeks, well, that can happen. There can be things that can throw off the reading even to reflect that. So, just be patient. Think of this as a journey. Think of this as day, from the very first day to the end, and then look at your overall success from that in terms of fat loss. But also, let's not neglect all the other aspects of it. Your strength, your cardiovascular health, your food habits, your sleep habits, maybe even just being thankful for things that you have in your life, because I've talked about that and I haven't checked all of the feedback, but I don't know if I've gotten very many. What am I thankful for? 5 things. We've got to look for all these aspects of things that can improve in our lives, not just simply how much fat do I have. This is a fun goal. This is awesome. This is great to shoot for. It is nice and tangible. It is very motivating, so I'm not putting it down, but there are many other things we can look at as well, right? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.